There is a law written into the very fabric of existence, a truth that cannot be erased, ignored, or avoided. It is older than time itself, woven into the grand design of justice and consequence. And though the wicked often deceive themselves into believing they can outrun it, though they may walk boldly in their corruption, believing they are untouchable, their day will come. Woe to you, destroyer, you who have not been destroyed. Woe to you, betrayer, you who have not been betrayed. When you stop destroying, you will be destroyed. When you stop betraying, you will be betrayed. Isaiah 33:1, Niv. Pause for a moment. Let those words sink into the depths of your soul. This is not human wisdom. This is not philosophy. This is the decree of the Almighty, the divine promise that no one who harms others will escape justice. Yet, how often do we see the opposite? The wicked seem to flourish. The deceivers build their kingdoms with lies. The betrayers sit upon thrones of false security, and the cruel walk freely, untouched by the pain they have inflicted. You have seen it. You have lived it. Someone you trusted, perhaps a friend, a family member, a partner, has wounded you in a way you never thought possible. They shattered your faith, turned love into manipulation, twisted kindness into a weapon, and then walked away as if nothing happened. And in the silence of your suffering, a question burns within you. Will they ever face the pain they have caused? Will they ever feel the weight of their actions? Or will they continue living unscathed while you are left to carry the burden of what they did? The answer is already written. Those who destroy will be destroyed. Those who betray will be betrayed, not by chance, not by coincidence, but by the very hand of divine justice. The destroyer believes he is above consequence. He moves through life taking what is not his, tearing apart what others have built, leaving destruction in his wake. The betrayer believes he has outwitted fate, using deception as his shield, thinking he can take advantage of others without ever paying the price. But what they fail to understand is this: justice is never idle. It is patient, but it is never absent. It moves silently, unseen, like the tide that pulls the shore, like the wind before the storm, like the whisper before the thunder roars. And when it comes, it will not be gentle. The one who thrived by destroying others will one day wake to find his own foundation crumbling beneath his feet. The one who betrayed without thought will feel the sting of being cast aside, abandoned, left to wander in the ruins of his own making. The very pain they dismissed, the suffering they ignored, the hearts they trampled, it will all return to them, not as revenge, but as justice, not as cruelty, but as consequence. You do not have to seek it. You do not have to waste your time watching, waiting, hoping they will suffer. Their fate is already written. The moment they chose to destroy, they planted the seeds of their own destruction. The moment they chose to betray, they invited betrayal into their own future. Look at history. Look at Scripture. Every empire built on oppression has fallen. Every ruler who governed through deceit has met his end. Haman built the gallows for Mordecai, yet he was the one who swung from them. Judas betrayed his Lord, yet in the end it was his own life that was taken. It has always been so. It will always be so. And now, look at your own life. The ones who harmed you, who deceived you, who tore you down to build themselves up, they may seem untouched now, but they are already walking toward their own downfall. So do not waste your tears on them. Do not waste your anger, your longing for justice, your desire to see them suffer as you have suffered. God has already spoken, and his word does not return void. They will reap what they have sown, and when that day comes, when they stand in the ruins of what they once built on the backs of others, when they cry out and find no one there to answer, they will remember. They will remember every lie, every deception, every moment they thought they had escaped justice. and they will understand that they were never above the law of God, because what they did to you, they have done to themselves. They take from you without ever giving back. There is a certain kind of person who believes the world owes them everything. They move through life with open hands, always taking, always expecting, but never giving in return. They drain the kindness of others like a dry land absorbs rain, yet they never think to replenish what they have taken. These are the people who see generosity not as a gift but as an entitlement, who see the sacrifices of others as something they deserve rather than something to be grateful for. You have encountered them. Perhaps you have given to them out of love, out of faith, out of the goodness of your heart, believing that your kindness was being shared with someone who truly valued it. You stood by them when no one else would. You lent them your time, your energy, your resources, and in return they gave you nothing but empty words and broken promises. They never once considered how much it cost you to be there for them. They never once paused to appreciate the weight you carried for their sake. At first, you excused it. You told yourself that one day they would change, that one day they would wake up and realize all you had done for them. But the days turned into weeks, the weeks into years, and still they remained the same, taking, consuming, demanding, but never once looking back to see the toll it had taken on you. This is not just selfishness, this is spiritual corruption. It is a heart that has turned inward, a soul that has rejected the divine principle of love and sacrifice. God did not create relationships to be one-sided. He did not intend for people to use one another for personal gain. Love, true love, is about reciprocity, about lifting one another up, about bearing each other's burdens. But these people, they only take. They only expect. The Holy Book warns us about them. The greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live. Proverbs 15:27 NIV. Greed is not just about wealth. It is about a spirit that is never satisfied, a soul that is always hungry to consume but never willing to give. Those who live this way may believe they are gaining something, but in truth they are bringing ruin upon themselves, because no one who lives by selfishness can escape the consequences of their actions. Isaiah 33:1 declares, "Woe to you, destroyer, you who have not been Woe to you, betrayer, you who have not been betrayed. When you stop destroying, you will be destroyed. When you stop betraying, you will be betrayed." The ones who take from others without ever giving back are already setting their own downfall into motion. They think they are winning, but God is watching. He sees the ones who have poured their hearts into others only to be left empty. He sees the ones who have given in faith, believing they were helping, only to realize they were being used. He sees every act of selfishness, every demand made without gratitude, every silent expectation that others will give without receiving in return. And the day will come when they will experience the very thing they once inflicted upon others. They will find themselves surrounded by people just like them, takers, not givers. They will cry out for help, but the hands they once drained will be empty. They will search for kindness, but all they will find is the same silence they once gave to those who needed them. God's justice is perfect. He repays according to what has been sown. Those who take without giving will one day stand in a place where there is no one left to give to them. And when that moment comes, they will finally understand what they never did before. The pain of being used, the exhaustion of constantly pouring into others without ever being refilled. They will feel the emptiness they once ignored in others, and it will become their own. They manipulate the truth to serve themselves. Lies are not always loud. Deception does not always come in obvious forms. Some people manipulate the truth not by telling outright falsehoods, but by twisting reality just enough to make it serve their own desires. They take what is true and distort it to fit their agenda, to shift blame, to make themselves look righteous while others appear guilty. These are the people who reshape the truth like clay, molding it into whatever benefits them most. Perhaps you have encountered them. They tell half-truths that make them seem like the victim, leaving out the parts that would expose their wrongdoing. They spread rumors, subtly planting seeds of doubt in the minds of others, making sure the blame never falls on them. They twist your words, making it seem like you said things you never did, or worse, they use your honesty against you. When they are caught in a lie, they do not repent. They shift the story, change the narrative, and find a way to turn the situation in their favor. But what they do not realize is that every lie has an appointed day of reckoning. No deception can stand against the truth forever. The Holy Book warns about this over and over again. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Isaiah 5:20 NIV. These people believe they can control the truth, manipulate reality, and shape their world with deception. But God sees beyond every falsehood. He sees the truth that no one else does. He sees the people who were falsely accused. He sees the ones who were made to look like the villain when they were the victim. He sees the ones who have been slandered, whose names have been dragged through the dirt by the deceitful. And he has already declared what will happen to those who twist the truth. Woe to you, destroyer, you who have not been destroyed. Woe to you, betrayer, you who have not been betrayed. When you stop destroying, you will be destroyed. When you stop betraying, you will be betrayed. Isaiah 33:1 NIV. The deceiver thinks he is safe because his lies have worked. He thinks he has won because people believe his version of events. But his own words will one day turn against him. The same way he used lies to ruin others, someone will use deception to ruin him. The same way he spread falsehoods about others, his own name will one day be dragged through the dirt. God's justice is not bound by time, but it is certain. The Holy Book teaches that the truth will always rise, that no deception can remain hidden forever. The one who lied to gain power will one day watch everything he built crumble under the weight of his own deceit. Perhaps he believes he has outsmarted God, that he can rewrite reality without consequence. But no one outsmarts the truth. The ones who manipulate the truth to serve themselves are digging a pit, and though they may not see it yet, they will fall into it. The very thing they use to harm others will be the cause of their own downfall. They abandon you in your time of need. There is a deep sorrow that comes not from the wounds of an enemy, but from the betrayal of a friend. When hardship strikes, when life breaks you down, you expect those closest to you to stand by your side. You believe that the ones you once carried will now carry you, that the people you were there for will now return the kindness. But instead, you find yourself alone. They have turned away, vanished, as if your struggles were an inconvenience to them. It is a pain unlike any other. The realization that the people you trusted the most were only there when it was easy, when it benefited them, when your presence added something to their lives. But the moment you needed them, the moment your strength wavered, they walked away without hesitation. At first, you try to understand. You give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were busy. Maybe they didn't know how to help. Maybe they meant to check on you but forgot. But as time passes, the truth becomes undeniable. They were never truly there for you. They only stayed when things were good, when your presence was useful, when standing by you required no sacrifice. But the moment standing with you meant facing hardship, they left. This kind of abandonment is not just human weakness, it is spiritual neglect. The Holy Book warns of those who forsake others for selfish gain and who flee when times grow difficult. It speaks of those who do not stand firm, who value comfort more than loyalty, who will not risk anything for another's sake. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. Proverbs 17:17 NIV. A true friend, a faithful companion, does not disappear when life becomes difficult. They do not turn their back when you are at your lowest. But those who abandon others in their time of need are exposing their own nature. They were never true friends to begin with. Their loyalty was an illusion. Their kindness was conditional. And though they may believe they have escaped consequence, God sees all things. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Galatians 6:7 NIV. The ones who walk away so easily, who abandon others when they need them the most, will one day experience the same fate. The moment will come when they need someone, when they are struggling, when they are searching for a hand to hold. And just as they once left you alone, they will find themselves alone. They will call out for help, and no one will answer. They will look around for support, and they will find nothing but empty space. Because God does not forget. The people who deserted you may think they have moved on, that their actions had no consequence, that their decision to leave was justified. But what they do not realize is that they have already sown the seeds of their own isolation. They may not see it yet, but it is growing, waiting for the day when they will feel the very pain they once ignored. Perhaps they will try to justify themselves. I didn't mean to leave. I had my own problems. I wasn't responsible for helping. But excuses do not erase reality. When they had the chance to stand with you, they chose to walk away, and what they gave will now be given back to them. The measure you use, it will be measured to you. Luke 6:38 NIV. They will come to understand, not because you wished it upon them, not because you sought revenge, but because this is how justice works. Those who abandon others in their time of need will one day know what it feels like to be abandoned themselves. They will remember what they did, and they will finally know what it feels like to be left behind. They act superior while hiding their own flaws. There is a certain kind of person who carries themselves with an air of superiority, always standing above others, always passing judgment, always presenting themselves as if they are above fault. They speak with authority, pointing out the mistakes of others, condemning those who fall short, acting as if they are the standard by which righteousness is measured. Yet, behind this mask of perfection, behind their carefully crafted image, lies a truth they do not want the world to see. They are just as flawed, just as weak, just as broken as those they condemn. They pretend to be pure, yet their hearts harbor envy. They appear wise, yet their pride blinds them. They judge others harshly, yet their own sins remain hidden, locked away where they believe no one, not even God, can see them. But they are mistaken. You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Matthew 7 verse 7, 5 NIV. These people do not seek truth. They do not correct others out of love or a desire for righteousness. They elevate themselves by pushing others down. They build their image by highlighting the failures of those around them. Their superiority is an illusion, a fragile mask that will one day crumble under the weight of its own deceit. Perhaps you have encountered them. Those who always have something negative to say, who are quick to point out your weaknesses but never acknowledge their own. They watch your every move, waiting for a mistake, eager to find a flaw they can use to elevate themselves. And yet when confronted with their own failures, they deflect, they justify, they excuse themselves from the very standards they impose on others. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Luke 14:11. God sees the arrogance of the self-righteous. He sees those who claim to walk in the light, but secretly dwell in darkness. And he has already declared what will happen to them. They will be humbled. Their hidden flaws will not remain hidden forever. The truth they worked so hard to conceal will one day be exposed. The very judgments they passed on others will be used against them. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Matthew 7:1-2 NIV. The superior ones believe they are untouchable. They believe their image is unshakable. But what they do not realize is that God's justice is not fooled by appearances. The moment will come when they will stand before the truth, when the weight of their own arrogance will be too heavy to carry, and in that moment they will understand what they never did before, that they were never greater than anyone else, that their flaws were never hidden, that their judgment was never righteous. They may continue in their ways for now, they may deceive others for a time, but they cannot deceive God. The downfall of the proud is inevitable, and the moment they thought would never come, the moment when their own weaknesses are revealed, when their own judgment turns against them, that moment is already on its way. They rejoice in your failures. There is a darkness in the heart of those who find joy in the downfall of others. It is a kind of wickedness that does not always shout, does not always act, but watches in silence, waiting for the moment when someone stumbles. These people do not celebrate success unless it is their own. They do not encourage, they do not uplift, they do not stand beside you when you rise. But when you fall, when you struggle, when life breaks you down, they take pleasure in it. Perhaps you have seen them in your own life. They never applauded your victories, never supported your dreams, never showed excitement when you were blessed. But the moment things started to go wrong, the moment your plans failed, the moment you suffered loss, they seemed satisfied. Maybe they did not say it out loud, but you saw it in their eyes, in their silence, in the way they suddenly became more present when things weren't going well for you. These are the people who pretend to be friends but secretly desire your failure. They mask their jealousy with fake concern, their bitterness with false humility, and when misfortune comes your way, they disguise their pleasure as sympathy, offering words that sound kind but carry the weight of hidden satisfaction. Do not gloat when your enemy falls. When they stumble, do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove and turn his wrath away from them. Proverbs 24:17-18 NIV. Even Scripture warns against this kind of evil, because to rejoice in another's suffering is to align oneself with darkness. But these people do not see it that way. They believe they have escaped judgment, that their thoughts remain hidden, that no one knows what lies within their hearts. They think their smiles and their words will conceal their true feelings. But God sees all things. He sees the hidden jealousy, the quiet resentment, the silent delight when someone stumbles. He knows the ones who wait in the shadows, hoping for another's downfall to make themselves feel greater. And he has already decreed their fate. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. Proverbs 26:27 NIV. Those who rejoice in the failures of others will one day find themselves in the very pit they dug. The same misfortune they watched with pleasure will come upon them. The same struggles they laughed at will become their own. The pain they saw in others and did nothing about will one day knock at their own door. And in that moment, they will understand. Perhaps they thought they were safe, that their secret pleasure in another's suffering would never return to them. But God does not allow such wickedness to go unanswered. They may think they are gaining something by watching others fail, but what they do not realize is that they are setting themselves up for their own failure. The Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 13:18. The ones who mocked, who waited in silence for your downfall, who found joy in your pain, they will not escape what is coming for them. Just as they watched with satisfaction when you struggled, They will one day find themselves in the very position they once delighted in, and in that moment, they will remember. They destroy peace wherever they go. There are people whose presence brings turmoil, whose words stir conflict, whose actions leave destruction in their wake. No matter where they go, no matter what relationships they enter, chaos follows them. These are the people who thrive on division, who cannot function in an atmosphere of peace, who seek out problems where none exist, creating tension where there was once harmony. Perhaps you have encountered them, individuals who turn every conversation into an argument, who find ways to pit people against one another, who are never satisfied unless there is drama, conflict, or emotional unrest. They do not know how to live in peace because peace threatens them. They thrive in confusion, in hostility, in a never-ending cycle of broken relationships and shattered trust. But what they do not realize is that destruction is not something they can control. The chaos they create will not remain outside of them forever. Eventually it will consume them from the inside out. There is no peace, says my God, for the wicked. Isaiah 57:21, NIV. These people walk through life believing that they can spread discord without consequence. They manipulate, they deceive, they set traps for others, but they never stop to think that the very destruction they cause will one day become their own. They believe they are the masters of conflict, but in the end, they will be the ones devoured by it. Maybe you've seen how they operate. They disguise their intentions with words that sound wise. They create distrust between friends, plant doubt where there was once faith, and find ways to turn people against one another. They are masters of division, always searching for weak points to exploit. If there is harmony, they find a way to break it. If there is trust, they find a way to poison it. If there is stability, they create storms to shake it. They make their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Psalm 140:3, NIV. These are not just difficult people. They are agents of destruction, and they take pride in the damage they cause. They enjoy seeing others struggle, enjoy the pain that follows their words, enjoy the control they have when they manipulate emotions and relationships. At first, it may seem as though they are getting away with it. For a time, they appear to be successful. They ruin friendships, break trust, set people against one another, and yet they continue to thrive. They walk through life untouched by the pain they create, leaving behind a trail of division without facing the consequences. But God does not allow destruction to go unanswered. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion. Psalm 11:05, NIV. There is a limit to how long someone can spread destruction before they themselves are destroyed. The fire they set in others will one day burn them. The chaos they create will become their own personal torment. The same instability they caused in the lives of others will return to them, but this time there will be no escape. Perhaps they believe that they can always move on, always find new people to manipulate, always find new situations to exploit, but they do not realize that their time is running out. Their actions have already set their fate in motion. The peace they broke, the trust they shattered, the friendships they ruined, all of it is now waiting for them in the form of divine justice. Whoever sows injustice reaps calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. Proverbs 22:8, NIV. They think they have control, but the destruction they created will soon turn against them. It will not be by your hand, nor by human intervention, but by the very laws of God that cannot be broken. They will reap exactly what they have sown, and when the storm they created finally comes for them, there will be no one left to save them. They believe they will never face consequences. There is a kind of arrogance that blinds people to reality, a belief that they can do whatever they please without ever being held accountable. These are the people who lie, deceive, manipulate, and destroy, all while thinking they will escape the price of their actions. They act as though they are above consequence, as if their wrongdoings will never catch up to them, as if they are exempt from the very justice that governs the world. They may have betrayed those who trusted them, caused suffering without remorse, or built their lives upon dishonesty, and yet they walk through life without fear. They see others struggle because of their actions, yet they remain indifferent. They watch the pain they have caused, yet they feel no guilt. They continue forward untouched, believing that what they have done will never come back to them. But what they fail to realize is that no one outruns divine justice. No one escapes the law that God Himself has set into place. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Galatians 6:7 NIV. They may deceive others, but they cannot deceive God. They may lie to themselves, but they cannot change the truth. Every action they have taken, every harm they have caused, every lie they have spoken, it is all being accounted for. Perhaps you have seen these people in your own life. They have wronged you and walked away as if nothing happened. They have mistreated others and faced no apparent consequences. They have continued in their ways, growing in wealth, influence, or power, while those they have hurt are left behind in pain. And so you ask yourself, where is justice? Where is the reckoning? Will they ever have to face what they have done? The answer is already written. They will. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. Proverbs 15:03 NIV. They believe they are safe, that time has erased their sins, that no one remembers the harm they have caused. But God remembers. His justice is not always immediate, but it is always certain. There will come a day when they too will know what it means to suffer, when they will feel the weight of their own actions pressing down upon them. It may not happen in the way they expect. It may not come from the people they have wronged, but it will come. The very foundation they have built upon deceit will one day crumble beneath them. The same way they dismissed the suffering of others, their own suffering will be dismissed. They will cry out for mercy, but just as they ignored the cries of others, their own pleas will go unheard. But the way of the wicked will perish. Psalm 1:6. No one who has built their life on injustice will stand forever. No one who has caused harm and refused to repent will escape. They may believe they are untouchable, but they are already walking toward their own downfall. It is only a matter of time before they realize they were never above consequence. They were only blind to its approach. Nothing in this world goes unseen. No betrayal is forgotten. No deception is ignored. No destruction is without consequence. Those who have harmed others, those who have betrayed trust, those who have built their lives on lies and selfishness, they may believe they have escaped judgment, but their downfall has already been written. Woe to you, destroyer, you who have not been destroyed. Woe to you, betrayer, you who have not been betrayed. When you stop destroying, you will be destroyed. When you stop betraying, you will be betrayed. Isaiah 33:1 NIV. The ones who abandoned you in your time of need, the ones who rejoiced in your failures, the ones who manipulated, deceived, and drained you of everything you had, their actions have set their own fate into motion. The suffering they ignored will soon become their own. The peace they destroyed will turn against them. The lies they told will be their undoing. But you must not carry the burden of revenge. You do not need to waste your energy waiting for justice. God has already decreed it. His justice does not fail, and His word does not return void. The wicked may believe they are safe now, but their time is coming. The Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for Him. Isaiah 30:18 NIV. So stand firm. Do not let bitterness take root in your heart. You do not need to fight battles that belong to God. Trust in Him, for He has already set things in order. What was done to you will not go unanswered. What was stolen from you will be restored. What was broken in you will be healed. And when that day comes, when those who thought they were untouchable finally face their own reckoning, you will not need to say a word, because they will know, they will remember, they will finally understand that they were never above consequence, and you will be free. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Psalm 37:7. Justice is coming. Trust in God and let it unfold.